What is up, YouTube? I'm Gaudet74 here, bringing you another week of APM lower tiers. This is going to be week 10. This week we take on Coach Melody of the Fae, or Melody, coach of the Pacifica Power Porygons. I definitely butchered that, so I apologize. We are going into this game with an 8-1 record, while my opponent is going into this game with a 3-6 record. Now, this game doesn't really matter too much because we are already clinched for playoffs, but I do want to try and lock up a second place, so I do have to keep winning because Puffer in third place keeps winning as well, so I'm trying to lock up second so I get a bye round one. So that's basically how it is. That logo looks really nice by Melody. I know she threw it together just a few minutes after our battle, so thank you for that, and it looks really nice. I like it. Speaking of which, we battled the same day this is going up, so in a few hours, as I'm recording this, you guys will probably see this on YouTube unless I mess up somehow, because this battle is late, obviously, as you guys saw. It's late because Melody had surgery last week and she was kind of out of it for the rest of the week, so we had to reschedule and move it into this week, which is fine. We got the battle done. It's all good. Our next week's battle is the final week of the regular season. We're going up against Samuel. That should be up on Sunday on normal time, barring when we battle, because I am going away on Saturday, so we might not have to be able to battle in time. So that might be late as well, so just keep it weary of that. But that is all the background information you guys need to know. Melody's team is very scary. It's pretty hard to prep for a bit, as I'll explain right now, actually. So we're going to get into Melody's team. Melody's team consists of Gardevoir, Porygon 2, Registeel, Incineroar, Flygon Z moves, Virizion Z moves, Dodrio, Quagsire, Oricorio, and Ferroseed. Now, I expect her to bring consists of Gardevoir, P2, Registeel, Incineroar, Virizion, and Quagsire. A lot of things could be dropped, like Virizion could be dropped for Flygon. Maybe Registeel could be dropped for something lower. I don't know, Dodrio. Dodrio is a little bit annoying for my team, and then Gardevoir could even be dropped. This is just a really rough idea of what I expect her to bring. But notable things is that she's got a major fighting weakness in her defensive core, as Porygon 2, Registeel, and Incineroar are all weak to fighting. So I'm definitely going to try and take advantage of that. Gardevoir is always a threat in lower tiers. Flygon is a big setup threat for a tier. And Virizion is also sort of a threat as well, though I do have some countermeasures to it. And everything else is there. It could be annoying, but I have ways to deal with it. So it's not crazy hard, but I think breaking down the defensive core is going to be hard. I say this because my fighting type is Blaziken, and that is it. I do not have much fighting coverage on my squad outside of Blaziken, so outside of that Mon, it's going to be really hard to break that down. I do have Toxic as well, but Registeel exists, and Registeel doesn't care about Toxic, so it will be a little bit of a problem there. But speaking of which, this whole game plan is basically revolved around Blaziken and Sneasel, more towards Blaziken because it just hits everything on her entire team really hard. So I'm going to be breaking that down when I break down my team. But that's basically the rundown of their team. It's going to be a little bit tough to deal with, but I think we can manage to pull through. I think my offense is just going to be able to pull through in this game. But that is that. The team I'm rocking out this week consists of Blaziken, Sneasel, Togetic, Empoleon, Roserade, and Rhydon. So as I just mentioned, the first mon I am bringing, the most important mon on the team, is Blaziken. Blaziken is rocking out with the leftovers, max attack, naughty nature, 180 speed, and the rest in bulk. Who's being sub Flare Blitz, HJK, and Hidden Power Grass. This is the first time we're bringing HJK high jump kick, and it's week 10, so whack. This outspeeds max speed Incineroar, so just to make sure I can outspeed that thing. If I get behind a sub, this Blaziken gets a kill. That's it. If I can get behind a sub successfully, it gets a kill based on my coverage. Quagsire cannot switch into a Flare Blitz or high jump kick and then into a Hidden Power Grass, so that is the biggest defensive threat to Blaziken. And offensively, while I am weak to quite a few things like Oricorio, Dodrio, Virizion, and Flygon, at least Virizion if I get a little bit low, then offensively, Blaziken it's kind of hard to deal with his offense, but his defense just does not appreciate this thing whatsoever. I can force a lot of switch outs, like Registeel's going to switch out, Incineroar and P2 probably switches out in Blaziken. If I can get a sub, again, free kill basically. Looking back, Scarf wouldn't have been half bad because high jump kick still does a load to Quagsire, and this choice scarfing myself in the high jump kick wouldn't be half bad, but we're going to rock out with this, and we're going to see how it does basically, because again, it's just really good. But that is Blaziken. I mean, very important offensive mon on the team. Next up, we have our second most important mon on the team. We have Sneasel. Sneasel's rocking out with the Fightinium Z, max attack, and 216 speed with a Jolly Nature. Moves being Icicle Crash, Knockoff, Ice Shard, and Low Kick. This Sneasel outspeeds their entire team, barring Scarf, and if it's Scarf, I can scout after that. The Sneasel's kind of weird because it doesn't really hit the hardest, but Melody's team is super weak to Knockoff, as Gardevoir doesn't want to take a Knockoff because it's not a Z user. P2, Registeel, and Incineroar all don't really want to get knocked off. And the Flygon and Verzion being Z users, knockoff is kind of irrelevant because I have ice moves for both of them, which basically OHKOs both of them. And same with Dodrio, I can just ice move it and it's just gone. They don't have any ways to boost their speed, I don't think. Well, Flygon has Dragon Dance, but I have Ice Shard for it, so it's not really a big deal. But I could see their defensive core switching into Sneasel and me knocking off, and that's a pretty big win for me. And then I have Fightinium Z Low Kick. I almost ran Focus Punch on this set. I almost did, but I decided not to in the end. But Fight Z is really good. It does half to all of her defensive core. Even after the Intimidate, I'm pretty sure Fight Z does half to Incineroar. I think. I'm not quite sure. But hopefully I can catch her off guard with that Fight Z and get a surprise KO. And again, knockoff is just very spammable in this game. Next up, we have Togetic. Togetic is rocking out with the Eviolite, max HP, max defense, and a little bit in speed with a Bold Nature. Who's being Dazzling Gleam, Flamethrower, Toxic, and Roost. The rest of the mons are kind of just to support Sneasel and Blaziken. This basically is just here to take on the Flygon and the Virizion and make sure they're not big setup threats. I do have to be careful of rocks going up on the field because then the Togetic is does a little bit of a worse job at that. Rock Z could also be a thing on Virizion, so I do have to be a little bit weary of that. This does give Registeel free switch-in, but that's fine because I have ways to deal with Registeel. Believe it or not, this is also my switch-in to the Ferroseed because I know she does bring Ferroseed some games, so I have Flamethrower for that. It's going to do around half, I think, even with the Eviolite and all that bulk. So that is pretty cool, but again, it's mainly here for the Flygon and the Virizion to switch into those two mons. And it's also okay for Incineroar. It doesn't really hit Incineroar too hard back, but Incineroar doesn't have recovery, so I'm not really too worried about that. But that is going to be Togetic. Our fourth mon is going to be Empoleon. Empoleon's rocking out with max HP and max def with the Wakan Berry. Moves being Stealth Rock, Defog, Toxic, and Liquidation with the Defiant ability. This is to switch into Gardevoir and P2. And that is basically Empoleon's entire job. Get up rocks, keep rocks off the field. If she wants to hazard stack me, I have Defog for that. And I originally did have Surf on this set, but my brother, of all people, actually recommended I run Defiant Liquidation because it would just do better overall. And I actually saw that, I was like, okay, that's actually not that bad. So I decided to do that in the end. The only thing I miss out on is I get Iron Barb's damage from Ferroseed, and I don't get Scald Burns. But I think I had Surf originally on it anyway, so it didn't matter. But again, it's here for Gardevoir, P2, and to make sure hazards stay off my side of the field. Our fifth mon is going to be Roserade. Roserade as the Black Sludge, max special attack, 176 speed with a Timid Nature, and the rest of them bulk. Who's being Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, HP Fighting, and Leech Seed. This is here to switch into Registeel, to believe it or not, and I can Leech Seed it and HP Fighting it down. Also switches in the Quagsire because that is the biggest threat to my Blaziken defensively. And then it also offensively hits a few things really hard as well, like Ferroseed. It doesn't really. HP Fighting does a decent chunk, like 30%. Gardevoir, if it's not Scarf, it just beats. If it's an offensive Incineroar with a little bit of like Rock's Chip, then HP Fighting knocks it out. So you kind of get the gist here. But it's here for Quagsire, Registeel, to spread Leech Seed around because I can switch into Virizion if it's not boosted, or at least I can take a hit from Virizion if it's not boosted. So that's pretty cool. And that's sort of it for Roserade. And I can live a Z Stone Edge from Adamant Virizion as well. That's it. And finally, we have 4 attacks Rhydon with the Eviolite, max HP and max defense with a Relaxed Nature. This thing is very tanky. It switches into Incineroar and Dodrio because Dodrio was kind of a problem defensively at this point because the Dodrio gets Jump Kick, and that's scary. So Rhydon is here to switch into that, as well as almost any Oricorio set, barring some whack-in power. And yeah, that's basically it. I had 4 attacks because I need to hit every single thing. I can live a Leaf Blade from a Virizion, so if I have to stay in and Fire Punch or Ice Punch it, I'm going to do it. The same with Flygon. If Flygon actually really doesn't do too much to Rhydon if it's not boosted, so I can just Ice Punch it and just OHKO it. So Rhydon definitely can take 1-for-1 in this game. It probably will take 1-for-1, and that's kind of the goal for it, to maybe open up a opening for Blaziken or Sneasel. So that's Rhydon, and that's going to be the team. I said so a lot in that narration. I apologize. But we're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to watch the battle. Alright, we are here at Pokemon Showdown, and I'm realizing that Melody did not bring the P2, which is really awesome, because that's really annoying. But she did bring the Ferroseed, which it sort of shocked me, but not really. It's just Reggie and Ferroseed I'm going to have to be able to deal with. But I'm going to lead off with Blaziken in this matchup, hoping one of the Steel types leads off to set up hazards. As I'm going to lead off with Blaziken, as unfortunately Melody does lead off with Incineroar. This is not the worst case in the entire world, but since I am intimidated, in my mind I'm thinking High Jump Kick probably doesn't kill if she's got just a little bit of defensive investment. It's probably just not going to be worth it. So I'm going to click sub, expecting the I'm clicking sub here to expecting her to switch out, but she's kind of reluctant to click knockoff. So I'm kind of in a tough spot. I don't want to lose my Blaziken's leftovers yet because I still value it. So I'm actually going to go out into Togetic here, which might seem like a really weird play because Togetic is really good for the Verzion and the Gardevoir to an extent, but I'm seeing that Verzion is the only reason that Togetic is here right now, so I don't really mind losing my Eviolite too much, as I just click D-Gleam on the incoming Registeel to find out that it's leftovers, so that's fine. I'm going to switch out into Roserade because it's actually my switch into this thing, believe it or not, as Registeel just goes for Toxic, so that's pretty free switch in for me. I can fire off a Leech Seed now, as Incineroar is going to come right back in. And now with this Leech Seed chip, I am a little more confident that I'm very confident the High Jump Kick will now kill because I'm not going to be intimidated. So I don't switch right into Blaziken, just expecting maybe like an Earthquake or something, because this Incineroar is offensive, as the knockoff is able to break the sub, the crit Darkest Lariat did 30% to my Togetic, so it's more of an offensive Incineroar. But Registeel comes back. I do click Roost just to try and stay healthy for that Virizion, because as long as I'm at full health, it's still not really a problem. As I'm going to go back out in the Roserade, and this time Registeel clicks Iron Head. It does a bit, so it's okay. I'm still going to click Leech Seed again, because if Virizion comes in, I can just Sludge Bomb it. As Oricorio this time comes out, so I am going to get Leech Seed off on this thing and get a decent amount of my health back in conjunction with the Black Sludge and the Leech Seed. So I am going to switch out into Rhydon. This was a little bit scary, because I know Rhydon's important in this game, and HP Grass could be a thing, as Calm Mind came out. I still live in HP Grass from this range, it's going to do so much, as I'm going to click Rock Slide, as Oricorio does not stay in, so I'm thinking she might not have it, as Ferroseed just takes borderline nothing from that Rock Slide. I do have Fire Punch for this thing, and I get a crit, and that's kind of big. As you're going to see here, Ferroseed is just going to set up rocks. That's big because now I can go for Earthquake and get the kill, as Incineroar comes in, so this is great for me, as Earthquake's going to do a boatload to this Incineroar. And at this point, I'm realizing if I break down this Registeel, Sneasel just wins this entire game. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind, especially since I just got that little bit of chip on Virizion, which was sort of needed. So I'm going to go on to Togetic because it's my first switch into Virizion. I kind of fear Swords Dance as it does come out, so I'm like, okay, something probably dies here. And she does have the Stone Edge, so Togetic is going to go down. And this Virizion is actually looking like a big problem, though Sneasel does deal with it offensively every time, so that's pretty nice. Registeel does come out on me though, so Ferroseed comes out is going to be the sack of choice. She probably didn't want me to predict Registeel knockoff and not losing her leftovers, because that would decrease the longevity of Registeel. But she brings out Gardevoir, that's Screaming Scarf, so I'm going to go out into the Empoleon, and hopefully she doesn't click Thunderbolt, as she actually here clicks Trick. And if I stayed in with my Z Crystal, that would have been humongous, but I didn't. And now I'm just going to click Defog, because once these rocks are gone, they're gone for good, because Ferroseed is knocked. And at this point, I don't think Registeel actually has rocks, because Ferroseed had them. Something is going to die to Virizion now, as Blaziken is going to be the choice of sack. I do this because I feel like she won't let me get behind a sub on Incineroar, and the only other mon I could get behind a sub on is Registeel, so it would have been a tough situation, so I decided to do that in the end. Plus, I have switched my Wincon to Sneasel, as Gardevoir switches in onto this Icicle Crash, and I get another crit. This one doesn't matter as much, but it's still kind of annoying for my opponent, so I apologize for that crit, as I'm just going to click Knockoff so I don't miss, and Gardevoir goes down. Now Registeel comes out again. This thing is a major problem. I do have to weaken this thing down a bit, so all I have to do is weaken this Registeel, and Sneasel should be good to win this game. So I do have HP fighting on this Roserade, as I mentioned in the team builder, and I'm going to go for it. It does 31%. This is 100% a very specially defensive Registeel, so that's a little bit helpful for my low kick and a little bit later. So I'm going to click HP fighting one more time just to get a little bit more chip. Now this thing is in range of my Z low kick, but as I do get knocked out, I'm actually going to go out into Empoleon just in case that she wants to maybe sack something off to my Z low kick. So I'm just going to click Liquidation and put it in range even more. As I do click Liquidation, it doesn't do too much as Registeel. And this is big because Registeel clicks Rest. And that is huge because this thing is such a problem for my Sneasel now. Virizion comes out on my Liquidation, so now I have to sack off my Empoleon, which is fine. Rhydon still looks really good in this game, except for this Virizion, so it's not over yet. As Virizion is going to actually hold the Fight Z and nuke my Empoleon, as I'm going to drop to that. I'm going to go on to Sneasel now, and I'm expecting her to now go out on the Registeel at this point. But actually, she goes out into the Incineroar. So, that's smart because Incineroar still has Intimidate. As I do click the Icicle Crash, and I don't miss, and I don't kill it, but I do have the low kick, and this Incineroar is not Scarf. So, I am going to knock out the Incineroar, and it is 3-2, but she does have the initiative, as she's going to go out into Registeel. It's the only way she can beat the Sneasel. So, I have to go out to Rhydon. I know Rhydon's very bulky, and I'm assuming this Registeel has Sleep Talk. As you're going to see here, it does have Sleep Talk. So this Registeel's full moveset is Rest, Sleep Talk, Iron Head, Toxic. So I do have a few turns to work with for this Reggie. You're going to see here I click Fire Punch after she gets another Sleep Talk Iron Head, so hopefully I don't flinch here, which I don't. Because I click Fire Punch, it doesn't do much, but I can't let the Virizion come in for free. I want to kind of scare her into not going out into Virizion, so I'm going to click Fire Punch. It's here. She makes a really big misplay and goes for Sleep Talk. Now that sucks because she could have gone for Toxic and it would put me on a timer. But the thing is, I'm going to click Earthquake this turn, and you're going to see here she goes for Toxic this turn. But if she would have gone for Rest, I still would have been able to get that chip on this Registeel to the point where Low Kick would have been able to knock out the Registeel, I believe. So it would have been, I don't know how much it really would matter too much. Now at this point, Sneasel sort of just wins the game, as Oricorio is going to go for Hurricane and confuse me. I find out this thing is Life Orb. Rhydon just breaks out as a champ, goes for Ice Punch and knocks it out. I believe that was a roll, but it didn't really matter because either Life Orb would have taken her out or Ice Shard from Sneasel would have. And the only thing I had to do here at this point is hit an Ice Skull Crash. So I'm hoping I can hit this Ice Skull Crash in the end, because I know it's -1 defense, but if she's got a little bit of defense bulk, I don't want to risk the Ice Shard. So I'm just going to go for the Ice Skull Crash. Do we hit it? Yes, we do. We hit the Ice Skull Crash, and your Northside Noiverns are going to win this game on a slither of health. Not sliver of health, just last turn. 1-0 to Melody. So GG to Melody. Melody definitely did have me on the edge of my seat there, because I really thought I had lost once I saw Rest on the Registeel, but I did do, I think, a good job at that Rhydon, trying to break it down a bit. I could have played a lot better with Blaziken in the early game. I should have just clicked High Jump Kick like a man, but, you know, it is what it is. It happens. Maybe I'll play better next time with Blaziken. But regardless, we are going to move up to a 9-1 record with plus 26 differential, I think, which is really insane. One more time, GG to Melody. Next week is our final week of the regular season of the APM. We take on Samuel. We have taken on Samuel during the APM regular season, and we did beat him both in the playoffs and regular season, though our matchup in those matches were a lot better, so we're going to figure that out next week. Samuel is on the verge of playoffs, so I'm probably not going to bring my best team, because I could face Samuel in playoffs if he makes it. But again, he's like right on the edge, so I'm sure he's going to be trying next week. But regardless, thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.